The tycoon was shocked to discover that the pilot next to him was sound asleep, while the plane kept climbing at 30,000 feet. He shook the pilot hard, trying to wake him up, but eventually realized the man had stopped breathing. Staring at the dense array of instruments on the dashboard, the tycoon suddenly realized that this private jet that had been with him for 10 years was completely foreign to him. He glanced back at his wife and daughter. At that moment, they hadn't realized the danger yet, and were chatting away happily. He couldn't bear to interrupt them, so he forced himself to stay calm, contacted the control center.
Hello? Miami Center. Is anyone there?
But his distress call was overheard by his wife anyway. Ignoring her husband's warnings, she made her way to the cockpit, and was instantly shocked by what she saw. She wanted to perform CPR on the pilot, but the cockpit was way too cramped for her to apply proper pressure. So she unbuckled his seatbelt, but the pilot's body slumped onto the control yoke, sending the entire plane into a vertical dive. Within seconds, it plunged through the clouds, heading straight for the ground. Fortunately, he managed to move the pilot's body in time, preventing the plane from crashing, and with the help of autopilot, successfully pulled it back up. His wife then, with their daughter's help, moved the pilot back to the cabin. But right then, the man noticed the plane's altitude kept rising. Soon they'd suffocate from lack of oxygen. At this moment, he had to turn off autopilot and fly the plane manually. For him, this was without a doubt the ultimate challenge. Following the instructions from the ground crew, he disengaged autopilot and pushed the yoke to the center position to keep the plane in level flight.
Ma'am, you find me the longest and the widest runway you can.
But having an ordinary person land a plane on a runway was practically like launching a bomb attack. To minimize the risk of disaster, the ground crew directed the man to gradually reduce the plane's altitude. He gently pulled back the throttle, bringing the plane down from 17,000 feet to 11,000. But since this was the man's first time flying a plane, his positioning kept wobbling all over the place. Fortunately though, the control center had cleared all nearby aircraft. After completing a series of maneuvers, the ground crew began directing the man to fly west. Even though this was his first time piloting a plane, he understood perfectly well that this was the complete opposite direction. From Miami Airport, the ground crew seemed to be abandoning him. It turned out the control center, to avoid a catastrophe, had redirected the plane's landing to a small nearby airport. That way, even if the plane crashed, it wouldn't result in massive casualties. The man was deeply unhappy about this, but he had no choice but to keep going. What he didn't expect though, was that the control center was hiding another piece of intel from him. A massive storm was about to hit near the small airport.